Yes, it's the Monday Club. How we all doing? It's international break. It's a wee bit boring, so we'll cut the show a wee bit shorter tonight. Don't be too disappointed. We'll be back up and running as we normally do from this weekend onwards. But yes, we will do a wee half-hour chat, then a 15-minute Sutton Death. I know you're getting the dogs dropped off, Jonathan, so you're a wee bit of a busy boy tonight. So yeah, we'll just do a wee bit of a shorter Monday Club. But hey, we'll make the most of it in the meantime. Before we get kicked off, remember all that good stuff. Give a like, give a share, and of course, always slag my hair. If you want to become a Boise Bus member, like so many of you have, let's get the shout outs ready now. The likes of Ali, Joe Brown, Charles Smith, Stephen Murdoch, Alex, Joe Brown again, Phil McGinley, still a member, still love it, mate, love it. But yes, so many of you have. It's $1.99 a month, totally optional. The content on the bus always remains free. We all know what a Monday begins with, though. Over to you.
Well, Russell, it is an international break at the moment, but the similarities are there for all to see when it comes to the national team and Celtic Football Club. Scotland are on the brink of punching their ticket to the Euros after dismantling Cyprus, much like Celtic tend to do to most of the competition in Scotland. Whereas for Celtic, they already have their golden ticket into the UEFA Champions League as the preparations continue behind the scenes to make sure this is a more memorable occasion. But speaking of tickets, is Mickey Beale now working his ticket at Ibrox? A lot of rumours going around there with changes on social media, pictures that he might well be for the off. One thing's for sure, it might be an international break at the moment, but this bus, to quote a former manager, does not stop. Tickets, please.
Yes, Jonathan. Love it, mate. Love it. You didn't have much content to go by. You did well there. I thought you were going to call it an international breakdown. I thought that would have been good. International breakdown. That's what they're having over there, as you can see by the headline of today's show. The difference in vibes between Celtic and Rangers this international break. Let's contrast and compare, Jonathan, because I was speaking about this yesterday on the Blether, and it's always good fun to get stuck into all that stuff. And whilst there's no football to talk about, I think it's only right that we contrast and compare and look at the beginning of the season so far and just how gallus it is to be a Celtic fan, mate. It's just great. You know what I mean? It's just great. Champions League to look forward to, unlike some. Top of the table, unlike some. Derby winning the bank, unlike some. Strengthened the squad, yeah, we did. Unlike some, looks like it. Best manager in the league, unlike some. Proven winner in the dugout, unlike some. Can afford to nod off on his flight to his villa for the international break, unlike some. I believe they were getting a tour over there today, Jonathan, by Mickey, to look at the history of Rangers. Hopefully they didn't dwell in 2012 for too long, because that's quite a cataclysmic event that occurred there. But yeah, I just feel that it's been a perfect opportunity, the break. I said opportunity about 50 times yesterday if anyone was watching. Excuse me. But I do feel like with the international break, it came at the right time for us with that landmark win. And now just a couple of weeks just to bask in the glory while others frantically look around each other, fall out with each other, and look for answers. I think David Kelly nails it there. You know, the international breaks made a big difference to both sets of fans. I agree. I think the mood music, I've seen a brilliant image. I don't know if you've seen it on Twitter last week, and it was showing, you know, Rat, like whatever else it was, and then it's like the other side, it was first name Brendan, and like everyone's now kind of along like to just calling him Brendan now again, you know, not even Brendan Rodgers, Brendan. So that just shows you what a win can do. And as David Kelly's pointing out, they're simmering on a victory better than simmering on a defeat. And I do think when you've had longer to reflect, you go, do you know what? It's not all been that bad. You consider the injury that Celtics had to deal with. emergency loans getting signed at the back for 5 months, things like this. And I think now, yes, and Les Watt's absolutely right, winning the Masters sixes, unlike some. Love it, mate. Love it. Yes, it's been a very enjoyable break from that point of view. Some people's right into the Scotland thing. I'm not the biggest international football fan. I don't make any apologies for it. But when Scotland do well, I kind of take more of an interest, if that makes sense as well. I can't deny it. I'm fickle that way. But what I will say is, in terms of the mood music around Celtic supporters right now, talk to me about where you're at with it. Are you always been as positive, or do you feel more sort of zen now that the first derby's been taken care of, and we kind of looked a wee bit more like we had our swaggering manager back, and all that Rodgers light talk seems to have kind of dissipated? Is that the word? Dissipated?
That's a really good word. Somebody's been reading the dictionary this week.
Woo-hoo! Yes, this seems
Can you do that again? You look too much like Ric Flair when you do that. You can't be doing that.
Jonathan usually says we were out on Saturday for Mum's birthday, and we were in Edinburgh for dinner and all that. And Jonathan constantly likes to remind me that I'm like the failed rock star from Love Actually, Uncle Bill.
Because you are.
It hurts. It cuts deep. But yeah, where are you, Jonathan, in terms of mood-wise over the old Celtic the New?
Yeah, well, I think the win, because it wasn't really expected from my point of view, truth be told. When I seen that lineup, I was thinking, if we get out of here for the point, we'll take it and run, bite your arm off. So to have come away from there with a win, what a shot in the arm that has been going into an international break. And you can almost feel the mood music between the two clubs at the minute, because there was definitely a bit of heightened tension at Celtic Park, after failing to beat St Johnstone the week before. There was, the drums beginning to softly bang at Brendan's door, if you like. And, the Rangers fans were smelling blood, and they were expecting not only a win at Ibrox, but they expected to be dismantling us, similar to what Scotland did to Cyprus last week there. And then it never really happened. And you've just totally flipped the whole situation on its head. And that is what this type of match can do, and that is exactly what it has done. Is that now the Celtic fans, we're in our element at the minute. We're absolutely loving this. We're thinking this was Celtic, at their weakest. They will not go into a derby this season as weak as they were at Ibrox, with so many players out injured, so many question marks still being asked about the manager at that point. A club that wasn't fully united with the support, I don't think quite yet, but that's now came back. And some, I would imagine. Wait till you hear the reception I bet the players get when they're back in action against Dundee at the weekend. It's all beginning to change, whereas across the city now, they're already looking for answers, and they're going down the same path that they always do when they can't find a way to beat Celtic, and that is point the fingers at the dugout. But I think their problems probably lie a little bit deeper than just in Mickey Beale. I think however they've been doing with their recruitment, whatever's going on at board level there. We like to have a go at our board, and rightfully so at times. We wouldn't turn around and say that transfer window was overly, a success. But compared to what's happened at Ibrox, I think we've came out of it looking like a bag of roses. We've done so well to have got this sort of buffer on there. But now the big question really is turning towards the Champions League, Russell, because whilst it's always nice to get one over Rangers, particularly when it's unexpected and in the manner it was last time out, we're obviously going to keep our feet a wee bit grounded, because we are now going to be tested quite significantly. Feyenoord up first, and I just think these sort of games, if we're going into it as weak as we were at Ibrox, it'll be very interesting to see if Brendan is able to pull another rabbit out of the hat, because make no mistake about it, if he's able to get a result against an Eredivisie team, then,
Leave that to me. To me.
I'll leave that to you. I'll leave that to you, Rick. But, I think if he's able to do something over in Holland, then that would be quite remarkable with the set of players he has, because Feyenoord are a couple of levels up from what we just experienced in Govan in terms of quality in the teams, I suspect. And I think now we're all feeling more optimistic about it, I would say, Russell. Wouldn't you? That we're all We're getting
that's where I
towards
was
that
gonna
stage
go.
where we're feeling more optimistic towards it, but how much of that should be tempered with a bit of realism that, before the Ibrox game, we weren't convinced we were going to win, against Rangers. And now we're probably thinking, you know what, we've got a chance against Feyenoord. It's funny how it all changes so quickly, eh?
It's very interesting because I was going to come to that when you mentioned the Champions League. I think that's the amazing springboard that a derby can give you, and of course we're seeing the opposite side from them as well, where it's absolutely killing them. Stephen Ray comes in, brilliant to have you on the bus as always, Stephen. He's saying the no away fan strategy failed for them big time. Instead of 7,000 or 700 fans to shout abuse at, they ended up turning on their own players the minute Celtic took hold of the game. That is a great point. And not just that, it was 50,000 of their own fans, full of hope, full of belief, and as always, unfounded, unrealistic expectations because they get fed so much pish over the summer. They lift the pre-season cup, and then they think they've got a bunch of world beaters assembled for 2 bob, and it never is quite that is the case. So yes, I take that point on board as well. It's completely backfired, and that's maybe where a lot of the anger comes from. The fact that they thought they had the advantages all lined up in a row. They were demanding that they still got their 700 to go to Celtic Park, things like this. Now it's like, fuck, that was 50,000 just of us. We still got humbled. It's got to hurt a lot, that aspect, and I think it's a great point. But whilst we're looking at them maybe in disarray and scraping the barrel with museum photos, England using the training centre, I mean, tell me you lost a derby without telling me you lost a derby. I mean, fucking hell. They are piling on any sort of virtue signal they can possibly think of to get the fans to go, Rule Britannia, yes, the Rangers are back. And they're doing all that shite right now. Let's go back through history. No bother. Let's have a proper forensic look then at recent history. I'm up for that. Then it's, England getting the training ground and things. I mean, I don't care whether England train at that ground or not, but it's so blatant that it's about getting the fans on side with anything but the football, because they can't do that bit. That's where the problem lies. But in terms of that being, the things you need to resort to when you lose a derby, I think you're absolutely right. When it comes to Celtic winning that derby, it gives you a springboard yourself in terms of, as you rightfully pointed out, optimism, belief, a bit of hope. And it's not unfounded hope. It's done after a victory. Not a victory that we just dream up in advance. It's done after the victory. We get a result, and then we can start going, okay, maybe Brendan's got his shit together more than we thought. Maybe the team is just beginning to click a wee bit. Maybe those injuries have been pretty harsh on the first 11 so far as well, when all is said and done. But maybe also that Champions League group we could have a wee stab at. We could get right involved in. We could make it a bit of fun this year. We might get some more points than we do plaudits. Wouldn't that be nice, Jonathan? I think you're right. There is a wave of optimism you get from a derby, and there is a wave of disaster you get without it. 2 weeks to linger on it, and I think we're now baiting for the season to begin. We cannot wait for the weekend to come round. I know there's Scotland, England tomorrow and all that, right? But we cannot wait to get back to the domestic scene, football-wise, and then see what Europe holds for us. But it's all with fresh eyes now and a wee bit of sense of adventure. It's not getting looked at, I think, from the same prism as before. Now they're looking at it from 4 points, already got a mountain to climb to catch up. Are they away to St Johnstone this weekend? Maybe they're at home.
Yes, no, they're away. I think that's one of their only away games, because the run of fixtures, I think, after this weekend has Celtic away almost every week until October, I believe. So our fixture list isn't kind after Dundee at home, but that's okay. We'll manage.
Bring it on. I'm all for that. And then you've got obviously the curious case where you're looking at them looking at I sound like Charlie Nicholas. They've got a situation where it's a Europa League to look forward to. No glamour, sexy ties. Thursday night football back. Knowing fine well also in the cold light of day that what they did a couple of years ago was get to a final. They can't replicate that this year. So even the hope of going, we make great inroads, because of recent history and they got to a final, it won't even compare with that. So they can't win now. Do you know what I mean? They just can't win. You can't really see where their excitement, their optimism comes from. And like you say, when it comes to turning on each other and things, the absolute uh, 180 or 360 that they've turned, 360 would be on it, on Beale himself has been unbelievable. From a Celtic fans' point of view, I think some fans are coming round to Brendan. I think others had already made their mind up that forget what happened before. This guy's the real deal, and he will do well with us, particularly as a more mature manager now and more experience under his belt than what he had first time round. And of course, I think the lingering memories of the fact he didn't make much of a dent in Europe. I think it was an achievement to get through the number of qualifiers he did the first 2 years, right? And I get why he didn't make it the next year. But what I will also say is I think he comes back with a different perspective and all of that now as well. I think it's exciting time. September. Bring it on, mate.
Absolutely. I think everyone's now feeling, a wave of momentum around Celtic Park. At the minute, I think we're all in a really good place now, and I believe it's Dundee at home at the weekend, and I sincerely hope this turns out to be one of those games where Celtic do go for the throat, and I suspect it might be one of these games where people are beginning to remember who Brendan Rodgers is as he fully puts his stamp on this team, and this could be the first of many thrashings that are handed out this season, I think, when we play them. And, if we're able to do that, then, it sets us up really well going in towards these, European games that are to come. And I just think at the moment, the fans are in a really good place. Celtic are in a really good place. We've got that cushion in the league that we didn't expect to have at this early stage, particularly with how the first few weeks of the season have played out. We're able to now go into the next couple of league games with a bit of weight off our shoulders. The pressure is now fully on the other side of the city. St Johnstone away at the weekend for them will not be pleasant. They've proven they can be a stuffy team, as they've shown against us. St Johnstone, they're going to be fighting for their lives, I suspect, at the bottom of the table this year as well. So I could see them dropping more points potentially up in Perth. And if Celtic were to go into these European games already having, for example, a 5, 6, 7 point cushion at that point, then, we're already in such a great place domestically. We can afford to then really turn our focus onto Europe and try and make as big a dent as we possibly can in it. And make no mistake about it, Russell, these are the games Brendan Rodgers has came back for. He loves winning at Ibrox. He loves shutting them all up. But make no mistake about it, if you were asking him what he's came back for the most, it's his eyes are on Europe. He's thinking there are things that managers have done before him that he's probably looking at and thinking, oh, I could have done that. Lenny got us to the last 16 of the Champions League. I think Brendan Rodgers will think, well, if Lenny can do it, I can do it. I'm a better manager than Neil Lennon. I could do that. He'll probably look at somebody like Martin O'Neill going further back, and I think he would want to be putting himself in the same bracket as a Martin O'Neill when it's all said and done.
When
it's all said and done, he wants to be in that same bracket and be remembered as, a Celtic legend like O'Neill is. And he's looking at, a European final or something of that ilk if we were to drop into the Europa League, again, as something that he can manage for the club. This is all about a legacy now for Brendan. That's the whole reason he's came back, and it's about a European legacy. He's got his domestic legacy. He's won the treble a couple of times. He already knows what to expect domestically. He knows he'll slap Rangers about silly for as long as he's up here anyway. That's just like a cat playing with a little bit of string. That's what Rangers are to him. He's got his eye on a ball of string or wool or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter. He's got his eyes on far bigger things. He's looking at the scratching pool of the Champions League, and he has a scratch he is desperate to administer in that competition. And I think this time around, he's going to make a bit more of a dent on it. I think we've just got ourselves into a much more, positive frame of mind going into the games. Feyenoord away won't be an easy one. The away games never tend to be, but I would fully expect at home under Brendan Rodgers that Celtic are going to be a totally different animal this year. I think you will see a bit more of a return to the Celtic Park of old under Brendan this time around. I'm not saying the away results will necessarily come, but I think even if we're able to get the home performances back to what we used to have it under the likes of O'Neill, Strachan, and even Lenny, then we're giving ourselves a fighting chance.
Well, this is it. You've nailed it, because I think we go into the home games, Jonathan, now with an expectancy level that we don't have, and that therefore ramps up the ante for the supporters to kind of make it more hostile. Quick shout out to John Mullaney. Thank you very much for becoming a member. Nice one, mate. Love it. But yeah, I just think when you look at the hostile environment it could create at Celtic Park, it's been missing. And too often before the last Champions League group campaign, it was described as this. It'll be fun though, won't it? Fuck fun. Let's go out there and try and get some results. I'm in the winning business, mate, not in the taking part and playing well business. No, I don't care. I don't care if it's 18% possession, whatever it is. Get points on that board. And I think you're absolutely spot on. I think because there's an air of expectancy that's higher with Brendan Rodgers, whether people want to admit it or not, I think it'll definitely be more like it in terms of the Champions League mood. I think, well, but let's try and get, as I said yesterday, and I stand by it, let's target 9 points for 9 at home. That would be the target. Let's try and get 9 points, nearly said 9 wins, 3 wins from 3. That would be class, wouldn't it? I mean, that would just be amazing. And I think these conversations only happen because we are looking at a win in the derby that has set us up to have this sort of optimism. That's what it all comes back to, and that shows you how important it is. And perhaps why the likes of the judge were so focused on the enormity of the first derby of the season. I think a lot of his points that he was making were with regards to we get smashed in that game and it can set a tone for the season. My point was they can't do a transfer window or make transfers based on one fixture. But notwithstanding that, you can completely understand his point of view where he's talking about how much this, as I say, sets a tone, weighs down the marker, gets you into the groove for what then lies ahead. And for us, it's Champions League football, baby, and a 4-point gap at the top to protect. That's what we're looking to do.
Yeah, definitely. As I say, because we've got that bit of a cushion now in the league, we can absolutely, look forward to these European games. But make no mistake about it, there's absolutely no danger Brendan Rodgers has came back to just piddle about in the Champions League and be like, oh, thanks for having us. We're just so happy to be here, and we're not actually that bothered if we get any great results. We're just hoping you like the occasion and the day out at Celtic Park.
I'm done with that. I don't want to see one quote. I don't want to see one quote tweet with a fucking stupid black and white image of a former great player saying how special Celtic Park is. No. You're welcome to hell. That's what I want it to be. I want it to be something that they look back on and go, I'm glad I only played for 90 minutes in there. That was a nightmare. I think when Ben Foster talks about it, the Man United goalkeeper, and he says they literally, the fans are that intense. He said they could suck the ball towards the goals. Make sure I'm saying that right. But he was like saying it's like a vacuum. They just do it themselves. Let's not talk about sucking balls in the bus. Anyway, right. Not just that. We've got one wee comment coming in. This is a wee bit of fun. Timmy Bing comes in. I don't know if he's serious or not. He's saying, get Gary Hooper back in the hoops. Kelvin
You
Wilson.
like Gary Hooper? You like Gary Hooper?
I like Gary Hooper when he was 25. He's 35, 36 now, Jonathan.
I said liked.
Oh, right, liked. I mean, I still like him now.
Oh,
I still like him now. Playing in Legends games and things. No one can be seriously advocating though that Gary Hooper came back to Celtic now.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that would be a particularly strong starter. He looks like he's put on a few pounds from what the pictures I've seen of the Legends game. He's kind of going down the Chris Boyd route, although not quite as quickly as Chris Commons has, right enough. I don't know what he's been up to over the last couple of years, but he is now looking like a bit of a beach ball that's struggling to get into a Celtic top. But I don't think somebody like Gary Hooper would be on Brendan Rodgers' radar. But having said that, I don't even think a Gary Hooper at 24, 25 would necessarily have been somebody Brendan Rodgers would have looked at either. I think he might have went for a different type of striker entirely. But certainly now, at his age, I think is he a free agent at the moment? I believe he is, isn't he? So he'll probably find another club, but it won't be with us. Maybe he might turn up in Scotland though. One of the other Scottish clubs might fancy a bit of Gary Hooper.
Well, there's a reason why they do these things. If you're still an active player and you're playing in the Masters in Glasgow, it is 100%, let's be honest, for a reason. I'm sure he enjoys the nostalgia of it all, don't get me wrong, but there'll be more to it than that. There'll be advice given to him that would be a good place. If you actually look at how the interviewers were posing the questions. I watched it all back yesterday. How the interviewers were posing the questions about, you look like you could still play, Gary. Well, I'm still looking to play. You're a free agent right now, Gary, and everyone seemed to be angling from the media, which I'm guessing would have been part of his sort of logic behind it. If I get a chance to speak on the mic, please promote the fact that I'm a free agent. That'd be part of the T's and C's, mate. He would have signed up for it. And I expect a club in Scotland to make a bid for him, at least one. I think they will. But do you know what? The thing is with the argument Kelvin Wilson was making, he's doing it because it's his mate, right? But I also take the merit in, we could be doing with someone who could score goals, not Gary Hooper, right? Get that out, get that in the bin. But we could be doing with someone as a third striker who could find the back of the net and would accept being that backup, who's not going to be someone who's going to be rocking the boat for, which I love as well, but accepts that maybe that isn't going to be their role in the team, but they're going to be very much a squad player, like a Tommy Johnson, Jonathan, you know, remember him? I mean, you need to have more depth up front. So for me, it's just a case of not Gary Hooper, but we probably should and could have brought in a poacher. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's something we should have looked at. And I was quite surprised Brendan didn't go for a striker. I know there was obviously reports with it was the guy from Bromby, I think it was, wasn't it? The youngster. But there wasn't really a lot of strikers being linked, which I think we both found quite surprising, because you were fairly certain he would want the showcase striker to make a mark on the window when we were talking about this previously.
Well, I did think that. I thought most managers, when they coming in to make a statement as such, particularly Rodgers coming back, usually a manager, when they first get a job, they want a striker. They want the guy they can go, I'll hang my hat on him. You know, look at Tony Mowbray with Marc Antoine Fortuny.
I think it maybe highlights just how good he thinks Kyogo is. Though, you know, the fact he's obviously tied him up on a new contract, and obviously he's quite happy to have him as his leading man. I think Brendan Rodgers must be looking at Kyogo and thinking, yeah, I can turn you into something similar to what I've had when I've been working here previously. You think your game was good working under that Daffy from Australia? Wait till I've had a few months with you and you'll see how much your game can progress even further. And I think Rodgers might quite enjoy that element of it, because that most certainly must be the reason why he didn't go out and buy one, which, as I say, must be a good shot in the arm for the likes of Kyogo, who, let's not forget, when Brendan comes in, he might have had question marks as to whether or not his place was going to be under threat.
No, I disagree. I think his mindset, he would back himself to be, I'll be playing. Rest assured. That's how you get these guys once every now and then who just are of that standard that we're not always used to getting to see at Celtic, which I actually hold Kyogo in now. I don't think that would have been a worry for him. But yeah, I think in terms of a poacher or someone in there who you could just fling on, I don't think it's the worst idea in the world. Just not Gary Hooper. I think that's just mate.
Giakoumakis instead. That would have been somebody Brendan, I think, would have liked.
Well, yeah, I think Brendan would have liked Giakoumakis. I agree with that. And I think Brendan would have given him a fairer crack of the whip. I think Brendan's far, far more flexible. Far, far more flexible in terms of his what he would do tactics-wise. I don't think he would go, I only play this way, etc., and it's going to be one up top. Not that he played two up top that often in his first spell at Celtic, but I think if he wanted to, he would be more inclined to do it than what an Ange would. Ange very much has his formula, and he believes that'll win, in his own words, it'll win more football games than it loses, and that is why. Yeah, he was a poacher. We don't need a poacher. We need a good striker. I'm just trying to think of someone that would be affordable, David. Do you know what I mean? That would maybe have to be a wee bit more limited in what they can bring to the party. Hence how they'll understand not being a regular starter. But yeah, Sandwich Boy, I'm looking forward to seeing Bernardo. Me too. Forgot about him until yesterday. Do you know that? I am looking forward to seeing Bernardo. He looks cool. He looks all older than what his age is. He plays like he's a wee bit more experienced. It's like a young Rui Costa, mate. It's a joke before it gets all snipped. But yeah, we'll look forward to seeing that. Phil McGinley's in the house, mate. He's in the home Italy. Zippy was in the away one yesterday. You're looking good, mate.
Oh, thank you very
right.
much. Cheers. Thanks a lot. Yeah, as many of the viewers know, I'm very partial to Italian football and certain Italian players being my idols and stuff like that in the game. So yeah, an Italian retro tracky top was always on the hit list to get. So yeah, it's quite a nice one from Toffs.
Oh, it's minted, mate. It's minted. It's
Right,
that time
let's
of
put
the
our
Websites are available to purchase such things, but I do use Toffs quite a lot.
mate. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, mate. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, it's a classic, mate. Right, okay, but it's going to be a wee bit of a shorter show this week, as I said. It's time for Sutton Death.
It is, yeah. An emotional one last week. We went through the whole gambit of emotions. We started the show, or started the segment, with Russell screaming it was a conspiracy, and by the end of it, he was saying he was just loving life. And then at the end, the start of it, Jono was like, "Oh, don't be stupid, Russell." And by the end of it, Jono was like, "Oh, what a conspiracy. This is a tear-up." So who knows what we're going to get this week? It was all over the place last week. But yes, Russell did get the point, did get himself back into this at 4-2. Well, there's still a long time to go, but yes, it is that time again. Sutton Death on a Monday night, the place to be. So while I get all the aesthetics set up, boys, as usual, you can say your piece to each other.
Well, Russell, I don't know where you're going to go with this.
Russell, it's not your intro every 2 minutes. You don't need to talk like you're doing the opening gambit every 2 seconds, mate. You're going to answer the questions like that.
Just telling you, Russell, that frankly last week the only reason you won was because you picked a slightly higher number than I did after going first. You pretty much just copied my notes and just picked in slightly higher number. I won't be giving you that opportunity this week.
You won't be. Well, okay, we'll see.
I've got a good feeling Phil will have sorted a better question this week that won't just be like
that's a good question. That's a good
You've
one.
Got a feeling. That would almost sound like prior knowledge to me, you know.
Back to where we were this time.
I failed a letter with Phil. I've seen that's what
he wrote an 8-point letter.
Clubs do.
Hey, let's go on with it. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it, guys. Yeah, it's a good question this week because, well, you'll find out in due course. But of course, I need to ask the first question of the night. Russell, you won last week. Do you wish to go first or do you wish to go second? Who's getting the clue this week?
I like having the clue, man.
Oh.
I'll keep the clue.
All right. Jonathan will be going first. All right, okay.
Well, so if someone's going to give me one for free, I'll take it. You're right.
Exactly.
All right. So, Jono, you will be going first in this show. Okay, cool. So, tonight's question, a little bit of a difference because a viewer sent me it on Twitter. All the answers as well. Send me another. That's a good one. That's a really
good one. We have the team like
viewer, Dav Lynch, and it's Dav. It's not Dave. Dav Lynch.
Oh yeah, Dav. Yeah.
Yes, sent me it on Twitter. He says this is a good one. He uses it in like group chats and stuff. They use it in all their trivia, so he might become a source for me going forward with some questions. But thank you to Dav for this. This is a good one. So there's 20 answers.
It's a guest question as well.
Yeah, a guest question. So 20 answers on this one, guys.
I bet Jonathan went to school with Dav or something like that, I bet.
Oh, the conspiracy chat started already.
I remember Dav, actually. He was pretty good at football. Dav.
There you go.
It's a Celtic question as well. You'll be happy to know, because it's been a while since we've had one. Yep. Okay, so this
Russell
one...
won't be happy to know. He doesn't win Celtic questions.
Oh, right. Well, this one's called Use Your Head. There are 20 Celtic players who have scored a headed goal in games against Rangers this century. Can you name them?
Ooh, that is a good question.
Yes, thank you very much, Dav Lynch.
I shall start us off with Moussa Dembele.
Yeah, Dembele is a correct answer.
Henrik Larsson.
Of course.
I shall go for... which one shall I pick? I shall go for Bobo Balde.
Yeah, he's on there.
I
yep.
remember it. Yep.
Fair few headers from Bobo. Yep.
Stilian Petrov.
Petrov posts, I think that
correct,
one, wasn't it?
Correct, yes.
Diving header, remember? Yeah, off both posts, sorry.
Yeah.
Correct. Who to go for next? I shall go for Lee Griffiths.
Griffiths is correct, yes. One.
Dedrick Boyata.
That is correct, yes. 5-1 trashing at Ibrox. Yep.
That's a good one. I'm going to go for another one I'm fairly confident, right, but I was hoping to keep it back. Stanislav Varga.
This is a header.
Good one. Varga is correct. 3-0
victory.
2004. Yep.
Did you have him?
SOS, save our season. Vinegar Hesseling.
Of course, Vinegar Hesseling.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
Very good indeed.
So that is 4 apiece after 4. So Jonathan, to make it 5-4, put the pressure on.
I am going to go for one who scored in the last ever Old Firm derby, Charlie Mulgrew.
Yeah, Charlie Mulgrew.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
Shit. I mean, you would think he would have, but did he? Oh, shit. Give us a clue.
Okay, so the clue for one of the missing answers on this one is this midfielder's headed goal sealed Celtic overturning a 15-point gap to top the table at New Year.
Oh, I know it.
Midfielder. Oh, shit. Oh, Joe Ledley.
It is Joe Ledley, yes. So it's 5 each. We enter Sutton Death, so a maximum of 5 more guesses. And if he's a tie, we might need another tiebreaker. Oh, wow, we're getting a lot of tiebreakers these days.
We are getting a lot of tiebreakers. I'm not sure this one will go as far, though, because I'm beginning to struggle slightly. But I'm going to say a name that Russell mentioned on the pod earlier. It's a bit of a gamble, but Marc-Antoine Fortuny, I think, did get a header against Rangers. He certainly scored against them.
God.
That is a great shout because it is correct. It was in a dead rubber game as well. Lee Naylor scored their goal in that game. Neil Lennon's
That's
first
what
as interim manager.
You gave it to me earlier.
Marc-Antoine Fortuny, yeah. Good fortune shines upon you there, Jonathan.
Good fortune, I like that. Oh, that's clever.
Nice.
Oh! Darren O'Day?
Darren O'Day is correct. The cup final in 2009,
Yes.
League Cup final. Darren O'Day did score a headed goal, yes. Okay.
I can't think of one this man scored that was a header, but I might guess. I'm tempted to. I'm struggling now with anyone I can remember clearly that scored. Hang on, I just thought of one. It's another good one. It's another cracker. Thomas Rodgers.
Oh,
Oh
well
my
done, Thomas
God.
Rodgers. The day that we could have won the league at
my-
Ibrox in 2012, his goal was a mere consolation. Yeah, Thomas Rodgers, correct.
Shit.
7 left in the pot.
Oh, shit. Surely one of them has. I can't
I know
see it.
exactly the two you're thinking of as well. I know the two you're thinking of.
Do you not think so?
And I can't picture one for either of them if
No.
it's the same two.
Well, surely one of them has.
I know which one I'd guess if it was me. Very nearly did.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to say Chris Sutton. I don't think he has, though.
Chris Sutton. Now, of course, this game show is named after the man
I
himself,
don't think he has.
and he's let you down, Russell. By any
Yes, John
chance, was the
Hartson.
other one John Hartson?
Bastard!
Hartson was correct. Sutton
Yeah,
I
was
can't
that's
see
what I was
Hartson's
gonna go with.
header.
Scottish Cup final
Scottish Cup
2002,
final.
I think.
We get
Yeah.
beat that day. That's probably why you
He
don't
used to
remember
go
it.
off the park and then he'd come back on. Remember, he used to stand offside because he would go off the park. Like, come on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
John
that's
Hartson
right.
was a missing answer. So do you want to know the other missing answers that you
Yeah, go
didn't
for
get? Odson Edwards is one.
See,
thought
I
it
did
was,
that,
I couldn't
but I
picture
can't
it.
see it.
Do you know why you
Picture
can't
it
remember
either.
it? It was in a 4-1 thrashing we took in the COVID season at Ibrox. That's why you can't remember it, because most people will forget it. Another one from the COVID season, the one each draw that we had, Mohamed El Yunusi scored a headed goal that day against them. That was the one when
these ones.
John Joe Kenny gave away a corner from the halfway line and they scored off
Who was
it.
the other one?
El Yunusi scored that day for us. That's the
Oh,
correct answer.
oh.
Thomas Gravison is a correct answer. His first
Harrison,
goal.
tapping. It's a tapping, that one.
Say John Hartson, there's obviously the right answer. Jota, the correct answer, semi-final last year. Is Tony Haggerty called it the brazen header, I believe he called it.
The
It's
brazen head.
brazen
Oh,
header.
fuck. I should have got that.
Scott McDonald, Tony Mowbray was in charge.
I couldn't
McDonald
picture that
scored
either.
and then
Couldn't
Lee
picture
McCullough
Scott
equalised about a
McDonald.
minute later. Yep. And the last one that you never got was Eric Sviatchenko.
Got 2-2 Scottish Cup
2-2
semi-final.
Scottish Cup semi-final, it was indeed.
Yeah.
So, Jonathan, you take the point and you get that wee gap
Naturally.
back again. So, there we
5-2.
go. It's 5-2 now, yes.
5-2. Yes.
There we go.
I knew Dave Lynch would come through for me. Dav Lynch.
Gav Lynch.
Agent Dav.
There we go. Aye. So, there we are, folks. That's another Sutton Death in the books. But yeah, another exciting one. Thanks for the question, Dav. Appreciate it massively. So yeah, good question. 20 headed goals.
That's a good question. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, indeed.
Very good
When's the last time you won a
Lynch.
Celtic-related question? It's been ages.
Oh,
since you won a
fucking ages
Celtic-related
ago,
question.
mate. Years ago. I don't know anything about Celtic.
You really need to maybe. You need to hope it's general knowledge next week, Hank.
Yeah, I'm now hoping for like capital cities and that now. That's what I'm putting my hopes on. Do you know what I mean? Any questions about the Egyptian pyramids? I'm fucking in.
Oh, Egyptian pyramids, that is your specialty subject right now.
Oh, obsessed. Anyway, that's been the Monday Club. We will round it up there. Sorry, it's a wee bit of a shorter show, troops. I know you all love getting on the bus on a Monday, but there's just not enough to talk about. There's no point in us trying to drag it all out if there's not as much there. We had a really good debate though the first half hour. If you have just jumped on, then just rewind to the start, catch up. Remember, we will be back, not tomorrow, because it's Scotland-England tomorrow, but we'll do something Wednesday. We could do a wee bus stop, Phil.
Bustalgia?
Oh, we've got Bustalgia on Wednesday.
You want me to tell the people what we've got?
Yeah, because this is
This is one that you've talked about. And a few recent shows, this one comes up a few times, Russell, so it just so happens that I've promised this. I was going to be doing this, the COVID trilogy. Well, it's part one of the COVID trilogy. We're going to be talking about the Phantom treble, the one that Neil Lennon doesn't get much credit for, the 2019-2020 season. A few topical things there. We've got a game against Lazio, obviously, so that's quite topical. So we've got that coming up. We topped a European group, something that the very idea of it just seems preposterous. And the season got cut short due to a small flu-like virus coming from Asia. So we'll get into that and talk about that season, the one that most people forget about because it's the season after it that kind of dominates the headlines, the 10 in a row attempt. But we'll be doing that. Celtic's 9 in a row, as much as they want to contest it and go 8.75. No, 9. We'll talk about the vote and the infamous Dundee invoice and stuff like that. That'll all be mentioned. That'll all be in there. So
that was chaos.
Yeah, but we've done a season one, so I'm looking forward to it. If I put the notes together the other day, I was like, I'm looking forward to getting this one. There's a lot to talk about here.
Phantom treble as well. A phantom treble, I call it. Neil Lennon gets no credit for that whatsoever. It's bizarre. Absolutely bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
We bet you do. Right, okay. That'll do us for tonight. It has been good fun. Thanks to each and every one of you on the bus. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. I'm going to try to say something smart at the end, but I can't think of anything. Jonathan, you say something cheeky.
That's not surprising, is it? Based on his Sunday squad, you've got nothing smart to say. Just like the last 10 minutes.